Okay, and I'm gonna go make sure everyone's flooding in. Incredible. So I'll just stop for a minute, and that way we can get this started. I'll let everybody else in. Happy Thursday, everybody, for Lunch Learn month end. Amazing things are going to be happening in the next, well, I don't know, day and a half, I should say, next few hours. You right? We have the honor of having one of my beautiful friends on today that I got to meet on the top director trip, LaChelle, and she is incredible. I cannot believe it's sunny in Minnesota. I mean, you probably deserve it though, because you guys get way more winter than we do. So I'll give you that. But as we're having whatever this is, but isn't it wonderful that in this business we can just pivot and do whatever we need? So, friend, thank you so much for giving to this whole Mary Kay world. And what she already sent me some things that she's going to talk about. So listen to me. It will be there by Monday. I know you all blow my phone up, the post on the Facebook group. You're like, don't blow LaChelle's phone up. Whatever she gives today, there will be a recording. We will get it handled. I promise you, and get everything on the Facebook page. You just have to give us the weekend to do that. We will get it on there. We try to, usually I'm pretty good now. It's been getting done by Friday, but there's a Facebook group. Wherever you learn about this, that's probably where you'll see the recording or whatever. Thank you all for inviting me to more groups. I would spend all day posting this in groups if that's all I did. So I just can't do that. But just know there's a Facebook group for that. And our guests really are just giving their time just to honor Mary Kay. And it's one of the most go give things, because this is every consultant all the way to national, every division. It doesn't matter. It's our place to come alike minds and just celebrate each other and cheer each other on and share ideas so we can all multiply in abundance this year. So, friend, thank you so much for being so go give and just incredible through and through. Mary Kay, you're exactly what Mary Kay wanted when she envisioned her company. I just love your guts, girl. I love everything about you. I think you're incredible. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this today.
Oh, well, Jen, I mean, you should be the one that we all are thanking, because my goodness, you started this out and it has just, I mean, multiplied. Like, I went on there to see who, how many people viewed the last one. It was like 300 and some people. And I think if you go back further, it's more and more people. So tons of people watch this. So thank you for what you're doing, just to really share I mean, you share so many people with the entire Mary Kay world and so many ideas. So it's so nice to have that middle of the week, like, I just need an idea. And then, oh, Jen has one for me on her Lunch and Learn.
Thank you, friend. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to, and am I able to share my screen, Jen?
Hold on. Let me figure out how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can.
I mean, I think, here, let me just see if I can.
Let me
Oh,
go. Let me hit share. I wonder how I do that on this. Let me hit screen. Maybe it'll give me. Nope, that's a broadcast. We don't want that.
in the meantime, I'm going to show you real quick. These are the cute Gucci sunglasses that I earned for having one of the most new customers, I think it was, in November and December. So I thought that was pretty cool. My daughter, who's 15, found out I earned them, and she's like, well, when are they coming, Mom? So I haven't let her know that I have them yet.
Okay, I just walked in my house. I'm gonna come in my office and get on the computer because I can do it really quick on the computer. So everyone bear with me. And
No,
then I'll log in here because I know exactly the button to hit on that. So
yep,
let me mute so you don't get that weird alien sound when I do that. Like, where it like gets all crazy.
yes.
I don't want that in your girls' ears. Hold on one second. Let me mute myself.
Well, and it's important, you guys, for a couple different things. I'm going to put up a script, and then I'm going to also put up I just want to show you guys a toggle that I don't know if you know yet. So just to make sure that you know about that. Do you want me to start with my iStory?
Hey, you're good, girl. You have it now.
You have it? Okay. So one thing real quick, you guys, I just wanted to show because we were at leadership and Mary Catherine back on a top director trip was talking to me about, oh, wouldn't it be great if when a customer goes to your website that they would just have to put in their credit card when they place their order. It would save us so much time of trying to get that credit card. And I don't know how, like I got an email or something that alerted me that they had done that. But when I was at leadership in my room, a lot of the ladies had no idea that this was the case, that we could do this. And so I just wanted to share this with you because I'm so thrilled that they did this for us that I thought, oh, we need to make sure that we're using it. So if this excites you, like it excited me, it saved me a ton of time. When you go into your profile settings on your website manager and you go down here to my preferred payment options. It says you can contact me about payment or you can securely pay online. If you click that, they have to put in a credit card when they place their order. So this personally made my day. I was so excited. And so I just wanted to make sure you guys know that that is there because I didn't realize that so many people didn't know that that was there. So anyway, so that's the scoop with that. And I'm going to stop share here for a second. Go back. Okay, so just to get us going, for those of you who don't know myself, my name's LaChelle Seleski. I'm in Hastings, Minnesota, which is sunny today and approaching 50. So we are excited about that. And gosh, I actually started my Mary Kay business as a sophomore in college. I went to school to be an accountant. And one of my friends brought me to a Mary Kay event. And the thing that I heard, Sue Ponko, who was the person there in her pink Cadillac, what she said was free car. That was the one thing I heard. I didn't hear anything else. I mean, I heard the money and that all sounded good and there was opportunity, right? But free car, what I didn't know then, what I know now is I really love freedom. And that meant freedom to me. And so I went to work to earn that car. Now I didn't actually think I was going to earn it. I mean, spare me. I was, in college, 20 years old, like that's gonna happen, right? Well, I ended up earning my car 5 months after I started. And it was interesting because at Career Conference that year, they were giving away the red hot Mary Kay Red Grand Am. And the people who had the highest in production were going to take it away from that conference. Well, again, as a wonderful college student that I was, I went on spring break. And so I missed Friday night of Career Conference and went to Saturday night. I am super tan, like no skincare whatsoever. And end up going to this conference and they announced the winner of this car, the person that got the highest in commissions. And it was me. And I did not even know how to wear high heels, let alone run in them. I ran from the back of the room to the front of the room and was so excited to take that car away from that first conference. And so, gosh, it was literally just the start of my Mary Kay career. And I had so much fun from there, just working my business through college, actually earning 2 cars through school. And then I went into accounting and I really thought that that was going to be my dream career. And as I got going in accounting, I was really only there for about 3 months. And I was realizing that I did not love it. I was realizing that all these things that we have in Mary Kay, and I knew that I really wanted to work my Mary Kay business, but I thought, oh my goodness, I've gone to 4 years of college. And I really was having a hard time with what would my parents think? And we put all this money into it. And I finally just decided, it was actually Lisa Madsen's debut as a national sales director. And I mentioned to her that I was thinking about quitting my job. And she was so funny. She announced to everyone at her debut, LaChelle is quitting her job. And I'm like, oh, like, I don't know if I was ready for that. Well, I went home and I did just that. I walked away from that corporate accounting career and it was the road less traveled, but it was the best one for me. And the reason is 6 months later, here's the God wink in the story. The company I had worked for, they were auditing Enron. And so if I had stayed there, I wouldn't have had a job at that point. They literally went under. And so it was just like, okay, this is, I'm supposed to be here in Mary Kay. And at that same time, we were earning our pink Cadillac. And so we've been a pink Cadillac unit ever since. And one of the top units in the state of Minnesota. We have a lot of heavy hitters here. So it's hard to claim that #1 spot, but we've done it a couple times. And yeah, so that's my story. We're working on national. We have 8 directors. 2 are in their pink Cadillac and we're working on putting that together. So I'm really excited about that. So as far as what we're training on today is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about striving to be the best that you can be. And so when I came into Mary Kay, I was recruited into an area where it was the #1 area in all of Mary Kay at that time. I was adopted into the Arlene Lenars area. And so I saw all of that success. I saw the success of Lisa Madsen, who was the area I was a part of at that time. It was actually Mary Diem, but Lisa was like the #1 director going for national. And then, of course, a part of Julie Danskin, and then also Sue Ponko, who are also top directors. And what's interesting is that you would, we all know iron sharpens iron, right? And so it's like, oh my gosh, this legacy of women that have been able to pour into me. And I'm so grateful for that. But it's interesting how we can switch things in our mind. And I know you all know about limiting beliefs. And one of the limiting beliefs that I had personally, and this is awful, I'm afraid to admit it, but it was that I wasn't enough because I hadn't measured up to that level of success of what I saw from them. And it's not a bad thing, because it pushes you a little bit, but it actually creates a lot of discontent and a lot of what we would call gap thinking. And the big idea of this, of what I want to talk to you about today, is you can live a Mary Kay lifestyle where you're completely at peace with who you are and where you are while striving to be the best you can be. And so I want to tell you, just kind of think about this for a second. If I said to you, how do you feel when I asked you this question? For example, why aren't you living your ideal life yet? And if I ask you that question, how do you feel? My guess is that it kind of causes stress and it pumps a little cortisol, right? And so you might be feeling like, yuck, I don't like her asking me that question, right? Now, if I ask you, think of all the wins that you've had in your Mary Kay business and in your life. Like, look back over time. And if you started writing out those wins, those things that really were impactful in your life, how would you feel then? And my guess is that you'd probably feel really, really good and have a lot of endorphins pumping through you, right? And so just kind of think about that for a second with how you think and how your thoughts work about your Mary Kay business and just really life in general. I recently read 2 books that I absolutely love. One is Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy, and they wrote The Gap and the Gain. A lot of you have heard a lot about 10x is great, better than 2x or whatever. They wrote that book too. And then Mel Robbins, The Let Them Theory. And so that's kind of what I've been putting into my mind, like over the new year and over Christmas and that kind of thing. And Mel's is about, okay, let them, just let them do, let them think, whatever. So they're going to do this. And then my response to that is then, where am I in that? Like, let me, what am I going to do after I've let them do what they need to do, right? And I'll talk more about that in a minute. It's kind of like in Minnesota, we say, watch your own bobber. Like it's stay in your lane. You don't need to look around, right? And then the gap and the gain is actually scientific, that if you get into the gain and focus on the wins, then you'll be happier instead of chasing the horizon. So have you ever done that? Have you ever chased the horizon? It doesn't feel real good, right? Whatever we're doing today, we chase these ideal life, the ideal life or the ideal situation. And I'm not saying don't have goals, but set measurable goals that you can track and see that you're winning, and then look back and see where your wins are coming from. So you can live a Mary Kay lifestyle where you're completely at peace with who you are and where you are while striving to be the best you that you can be. And so I'm going to share a couple principles that I took away from both of these 2 books. I could go on and on. I could give you 10 principles, but we're going to limit it. So the gap and the gain, you're happier when you're in the gain. And this phenomenon is especially common in late January and early February, where we are right now today. When we observe our success or lack thereof in pursuing our New Year's resolutions. So let's think about that. The ideal is losing 20 pounds and you've lost 7, right? The ideal is working out 5 days per week. You've averaged 3. The ideal is a 0 inbox email and you have 237 unread emails, right? So we're in the gap if we only see the distance between what we have achieved thus far and then the ideal goal. And on the opposite, we're in the gain if we measure how far we've progressed to the original goal. So you can enjoy a more satisfaction for the hard work you're doing by looking at the gains. So how does that relate to our Mary Kay business? Why would it matter if you're happy? Why would it matter? Who really knows if you're happy or not, right? People know. We attract what our energy puts out, right? And so when you're in a high vibe, a high energy, people can feel that and they want to be in your space. I remember being out in the field as a brand new consultant, and people would say that to me, like, we can tell you're really passionate about what you do. We can tell you love what you do. You're made for this. Those are things that I was hearing out in the field doing my business and working my parties. Anything that creates a gap in your thinking causes a breakdown in stress. And so gap thinking would be like, I don't weigh what I want. I don't want, or I don't own my house, or things are bad, or I can't get bookings, or I'm mad that something changed. We all get kind of wonky on that one, don't we? And then wishing things are different than they are is actually gap thinking. So let's look at the gain. If you focus on seeing the gains, you will progress rapidly. It's scientific that you will progress rapidly if you look at the gains. So what are you grateful for? Your confidence will go up when you look at what you're grateful for and what your gains are, and you will perform better. So have you ever had something and you didn't really appreciate it, and then all of a sudden you lost it? Yeah. That's how we know when we're in the gap in the gain, right? Is that really sends a big message of, oh, I should have been thankful for what I had. I love the study that they did on 180 Catholic nuns. Get this, this is interesting. They were born before 1917, okay? And they had them write in their journals and they monitored the journal entries. Those that were positive and wrote positive entries in their 20s lived longer by 10 years than those that were negative. 10 years, you guys. And at age 85, 90% of the happiest journalists were still alive versus 34% of the least happy. They went on to note that positive people even got sick less. Isn't that interesting? So after I read this, the suggestion in the book was to start tracking the gains before you go to bed. So I'd write down 3 gains I had for that day, and then 3 gains I would have tomorrow. And it's amazing what goes in our mind right before we go to bed, and what you kind of like, it just kind of, it works in your subconscious, right? And it's powerful. And what I found about myself is I'm not real good. Like, I'm really good in the morning. My morning skincare routine is spot on. At night, a little shaky. And so sometimes I find that I have to do things to make me do the thing. And so I started sending it out to my offspring, and then they would send me theirs back. And so I knew that if I didn't send it out to my offspring, that they would know that I missed it that day. So, maybe find a buddy and send them your gains each day. And you can do that back and forth, and that really get you to focus on those gains. All right. So principle number 2, you guys, is that, okay, hold on. Let me back up. That will make you more powerful is, every experience you can turn a lesson into a gain. Okay. Sorry. This last 4 months, you could say that our family has been through 4 traumatic experiences. Kind of disturbing, actually. And it's an emotional shock followed by a stressful event. That's what a traumatic experience is. And it's been trying, but I don't think I'm alone. I think that a lot of you on here probably have had situations that you could call traumatic.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, I think we had someone on mute there. So what I have loved about, or one of the things that he said is I'm sorry, let me go back. I think we all are hit with like certain hard situations, right? And what I loved about what he said is that we can move past these traumatic events instead of dwelling on them, and you can make yourself essentially bulletproof. How many of you would like to be bulletproof to, these experiences that we sometimes have in our life? It doesn't matter what occurs, you can turn it into a gain. So a lesson of what good came out of what I learned. So he went on to give examples of like really, really bad situations, like things that you can't even really think about. And he would state that trauma, and then he would convert it into a lesson. And so if you've had something that you've experienced that you can't even imagine in your wildest imagination, you can actually be stronger from it and move past it and gain from it rather than lose from it. So, a sign of a professional, I think too, is when you're going through these types of things, is to make sure that it doesn't pull down your Mary Kay business as well. So many times it's like, oh, well, she had that happening, but we would have never known. And the reason you wouldn't have ever known is because it's that milk the cow philosophy, that farming philosophy of the cows need to be milked every day, no matter what, right? And so we keep on working. Now, I'm not saying it's not okay to take a break, and I'm not saying that there's some really bad situations that you really need to walk away from. But it's keeping yourself in the game. If you have some of, take the moment you need, but then keep working through it. Because if you work through it, sometimes that actually helps solve that or help that problem too. So one last thing I want to note on the gap in the gain is if you're in the gap on yourself, you most certainly are with others too. And that is where is if we're mentoring someone, that can do really a lot of harm to the people we're leading. So it's important to get into the gain as soon as possible and never get out of the gap. Now, I want to tell you this one thing that I thought was cute. I listened to the audio version, and I don't know about you guys, but I take in a lot of books. And one of my mentors said to me, get some AirPods and just listen. And I always had a hard time reading a lot until I started listening. And man, you can get a lot of books in when you're putting on your makeup, driving in the car, folding the laundry, like all the things we do, cooking, all the things we do as moms. You're able to get a lot of books in while you're at it. So in the audio version, the one guy said to the other author said, "Oh, so you're never in the gap then, right?" And he goes, "Oh, no, never. Only about 4 or 5 times a day." And so I kind of chuckled at that because it's like, yeah, we can't be perfect, right? But it's a goal to, be away from the gap and into the gain. All right, so I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit more about the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And it looks like Merrick is also a big fan of her. But the Let Them Theory is different than letting go. So many of you probably heard about, letting go, because that's another book that is fantastic. But anyway, it just seems like you just have to deal with it when you're letting go. Whereas the let them theory is more empowering to you. And it's let them and then let me. And let me is what am I going to do about it? So if someone ghosts you, let them. Yep, I said it. If they ghost you, let them. My response then would be to go have so much activity. I don't really care if they get back to me or not. And I heard Amber Town Gann's education recently, and I really liked it. I had spoke at seminar one year to Red Jackets, and it was 2 years ago, and I talked about reach out. So that's every time you reach out to your customer. And I challenged the ladies. I think I challenged them like 20 to 30 reach outs a day. And I remember thinking that was big, right? And then I heard Amber's training, and she talked about, we have so many people in our phone. We have so many people on Facebook. You have so many people, that when she actually looked at it, it was like thousands. Like she was like, oh, 5,000 Facebook friends and thousands of people in my phone and that type of thing. She's like, you know what? I could reach out to 54 people a day. So that was what she was going to do is reach out to 54 people a day to get a lot of activity going. And I remember hearing this training in December, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. And I started doing 54 a day. Okay, well, guess what happened? I was so busy, I couldn't see straight. And then I was like, well, Christmas is coming. I don't want to be I want to take a break at Christmas. And so I stopped doing it. But then I picked it up again in January. And again, I had to stop doing it because I was in so much momentum and so much action that I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. So I'm going to share with you a script that I think would get you into action. I'm going to share my screen again here. And I'm just going to, here it's on my email. But I also sent this to Jen too. But it's, hey, beautiful Jenna. Now, when I first read this, I was like, I don't know about this, but I'm just going to send it exactly how she says it's working and just do this. And this actually came from my offspring director, Jenny Charnel. So she was messaging her birthday leads and she said, this is working so great for me. So it says, hey, beautiful Jenna, Facebook birdie told me it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Can I send you a pampering gift and celebrate you in a fun birthday beauty bash on Facebook? And then I go on to say, okay, what's your facial skin type? I send out some samples to her. And then I say, okay, I'm sending it now. And I'm going to go ahead and start a beauty bash celebrating you. And basically, you guys, it's a Facebook party that you put a bunch of birthday posts in along with our anti-aging skincare posts, right? So all the product posts along with some fun birthday celebration posts. And then the last thing is just, here you go, invite everyone on Facebook, your Facebook friends for the most free goodies. Can't wait to celebrate you. Now, this is the interesting part about this. I'm just going to leave that up for a minute. I thought to myself, okay, yeah, right. Like this is going to work. I don't know why I didn't think it was going to work, but I started doing it every day on their birthday. And then I got smart about it and I'm like, I'm going to send it before their birthday so we can actually celebrate them over their birthday, right? And so I usually do it like 2 to 3 days in advance now, but you can do it on the day. You can also do belated birthdays. And the exciting piece of it is that they say yes. People have told me no so many times before, say yes. And I was trying to figure out why. And I think as women, we just get passed up like, oh, like for myself, my son and my daughter, just had their birthdays the last 2 days. My husband's birthday is coming up. I just did this whole plan of what we're going to do for his birthday. There's all this stuff that we plan for them, but then it comes to your birthday and what happens? I usually get that, well, do you want to go out to eat tonight? And so women love to feel celebrated and special. And that's exactly what you're doing with this script. So that's why it's working. I also went into, at that time, I used my Girls Night In, which is a Facebook Live where I just invited people to be on with me, where I went through skincare and makeup. And then I use my regular beauty bashes that I typically do, which is, again, it's a Facebook party. So it took me longer than an hour to do the first messages because I had to like read what I had messaged them before. So it took me a little longer to get things going. But I tell you what, if you do it, it really works. Brendan Burchard in his book, High Performance Habits, said that most people aren't thinking about you at all, even after you make a request. So if you're nervous to send out these messages, they aren't thinking about you. If somebody does say yes to helping you, they tend to like you even more after they've done something for you. People don't begrudgingly help you if they don't want to, they'd say no. So it's counterintuitive, but in getting people to like you more, if that's the goal, then just ask them to do you a favor. Isn't that interesting, you guys? All right. So I really love the let them theory. Okay, so I'm gonna go on to principle number 4. I'm gonna stop my screen share here. Hopefully you got it, but we will share it too. The last part of the let them theory is it protects your energy and it gives you peace and power. So this is the last principle I want to share. One thing that will give you the power to know is that Mel shared when emotions rise up, they fall too. So think of a sky and it's always changing. So we're always going to have stuff that will come into our life and emotions. And when emotions go up, they also fall. And she shared that an emotion is a chemical reaction and is only 6 seconds. 6 seconds, you guys, for an emotion. And then it takes only 90 seconds for it to complete its course unless we add gasoline and make it a chemical reaction, an explosion, if you will. So don't add gasoline, right, to the emotion, and then it will simply die. If you have teenagers, you know how this works, right? Like they start arguing with you. If you argue back, that's the gasoline, right? Like there's sometimes where I'm just like, I'm just going to walk away from her. I just can't, don't say a word. Even though I want to say a word, I'm not going to say a word. So I know if you have teenagers, emotions are always contagious, and feelings, those emotions and those feelings can trigger you. So anything that will protect your power. Mel also talks a great deal about like comparison. And I think in Mary Kay, we get into the comparison, which is it's awful for us, right? So we don't want to go into comparison, but she talks about her 2 daughters. And I feel this with my 2 kids too. Like, they're always competing and looking at one another or whatever. And one is so much different. One's athletic and one's academic, they're just so different. And she was talking about her 2 daughters that, they both have these amazing strengths, these individual strengths that if they would just step into them, but they're constantly looking at each other, right? And so when you're comparing, you're always comparing your worst to her best, and you're always thinking, I wish I had that, but I don't, so I have this, and this is what I have to do. And here's the thing, you guys, if you step into your strengths, and if you've never done the Gallup Strength Finder, I really recommend that you do that and learn more about the strengths. There's recordings out there like crazy. Like you can sit and listen to your strengths and how you operate and how other people operate. There's so much information out there on like, what do they call them? Podcasts and all kinds of things that there's just a plethora of information. but people will actually teach you their strengths. And what's interesting is when you pair up with another person, it makes you so much better. And if you understand how they operate a little bit, instead of like, well, this is how I think, and you should think like I think. I mean, it just doesn't work like that, right? And so working together with people and their strengths really makes everyone better together. And it also helps you to learn that, to embrace the strengths that you do have, because sometimes, again, you look around and you think, I wish I had that. But you know what? Your strengths are really, really beautiful, and have confidence in that. So sometimes I'm on the phone with people, consultants I work with, and I can tell that they see themselves not how I see them. I'm thinking she's all these amazing things, right? And I can tell because of the lens that she is looking through, what life has put on her, what people have put on her, that she doesn't see herself as that amazing. And it breaks my heart. And so what if you are amazing, powerful, and an amazing, powerful woman that you can just step into that person? So how are you going to do that? Well, when you get home or when you're done with the Zoom, here's a couple key takeaways. Number one, write down your wins at the end of each day and measure back. Number two, if you're not as booked as you want to, try that 56 reach outs a day challenge. I think that will really change what's on your date book. Number three, if you've had traumatic experiences, things that are holding you back in your business, write down the lesson. What are the lessons from it? And get into your power. And number four, be kind to yourself, okay? Don't overthink or read too much into things. If anybody has an issue with you, let them. Just let them. I mean, it was funny. I was sharing this the other day and someone said, you really need to share this with more people. I had a customer that I bent over backwards for, and I proceeded to get the product back in the mail with a letter with 10 points of how I somehow mistreated her. I read it because I felt it was important that, I want to see her point of view. And then I threw it away and I was like, done with that lady. Like, because we get that sometimes, you guys, we get just people like that, right? And so there's so many people in this world. Don't let one person ruin your day. Just don't let it happen, okay? So the last thing I want to leave you with is, now that you are a really powerful woman because you've heard all this information and you have all this knowledge, you are where you're supposed to be right now. And that's going to move you to the goals that you want to have accomplished. And you're equipped to handle anything that comes your way. You don't have to think about what people are thinking because we can't change them anyway. So let them, and have a tool to become successful. You have a tool to become successful, those 56 reach outs a day. And I know you're probably thinking they're not in there, but hey, I really challenge you. Go look. I bet you'll find the people you need to. So when we meet again, you'll be leaving behind your ideals by crushing your goals from what you did daily to make you a success. You can live a Mary Kay lifestyle where you are completely at peace with who you are and where you are, while striving to be the best you can be. So thank you guys for letting me be on here today, and I hope that blessed you. I'd love to know in the chat if there's anything that stood out to you.
I love that, friend. And don't worry, the script, if you didn't take a picture of it, she sent it to me. So I'll post it with the recording of the video. So we'll have that on there. It was incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of that. I think sometimes we just got to get out of our own way, right?
Yes.
And I heard that 56. I was doing that for a while. I don't know why I stopped. I need to go do it again. Probably, maybe I got over, I don't know. Maybe it was that. I don't remember. But isn't that funny? We do something for a little bit and then we're like, we stopped, even though it was working, we stopped. Thank you, my friend. And thank you all for being on this lunch and learn today. I know some of you is literally your lunch hour. So I will remember, give me till Monday. We will get it there. Usually by Friday, but give me till Monday to get everything posted. Oh, yes, Mel Robbins. Yeah, that's a really good book. I want to make sure I didn't see any questions that hadn't been answered. I think they all did it. Gap and Gain. Yep. There's the books. It's awesome. Thank you, my friends. I hope you all have an amazing day. And
Thank you.
go run the race. We have till tomorrow night at midnight Central Time. So go make it happen, my friends. Thank you, LaChelle. I love you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.